Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great weekend at the moment. And welcome to this new video here on the markets. All right, I wanted to do a market update for the real diehards out there, the real traders, the real crypto investors on the Saturday, where not much is going on. After the US session yesterday, basically we've seen a bit of a sell-off. You can see open interest is going down quite beautifully here. For multiple reasons. I mean, that's just in general positions being closed from April. That's positions being closed, leverage positions being closed from last week, of course, where the open interest went up quite a fair bit, as you can see, and it's still at this point of time still very high. And then outside of that, next week, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'll either do a market update or a live stream. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. But a little bit more about the Federal Reserve interest rate decision and press conference, which is next week. So it's also a little bit of de-risking, I think, ahead of that. However, technically at this point of time, Bitcoin is still bullish, right? So we'll talk about that in a moment. First of all, I wanted to talk briefly. So just so you know, the interest rate decision next week, Wednesday, important, all right? Very important. What they'll say during the press conference for sure. Because it's already known, it's like a 99 probability chance that the interest rates are going to stay 4.5%. So the interest rate decision itself is not that interesting, but the press conference will be. So put that in the agenda. But no, I mean, what I think is more interesting is kind of looking at what happened yesterday. Stock markets have remained very, very strong. As you can see, we're at a major resistance level here on the higher time frames. But as long as we see more stability return in the world, I would argue that the stock market can rally up higher, at least on the short term. So even though this is at resistance, I would say 1 hour time frame here. At some point of time, we're going to get quite a deep pullback. You should also be aware that if we get some bearish news, most of you know this, but if we get some bearish news, that could be disastrous for the price as well, right? So then we could, in the matter of 1 day, we could do something like this, and Bitcoin will surely follow that. However, so far so good, and I would say until we actually see a bearish breakdown, which we haven't seen so far. I would assume that this is going to continue to be bullish, and what we've also seen is that the volatility index has continued to be weak. I think bond yields are also still quite bearish, so that's in general a good sign for general financial markets and therefore also for Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin itself, like I said, we've seen a bit of de-risking, we've seen positions being closed. However, the timing of this video is, just because I had some time to make this video, but outside of that, the US Open is also in the next 2 hours, and that's obviously a US Open because obviously the financial markets are not open. But the US is slowly waking up, and if we take a look at all the US sessions over the last week, especially Thursday and Friday, but also Wednesday with that recovery, the US was buying a lot, all right? And at this point of time, we can still see, if we take a look at the Coinbase Bitcoin premium, we can still see that that's trading at a premium, even though it's, it's actually pretty strong still. So even though this is the 1 hour time frame, this is very zoomed in, even though at this point of time, I think we're still de-risking, and I would say it's most likely that we will continue to de-risk. At least into our major support zone right here between 95,600 and 95,300, where we have some single prints. We've left a fair value gap, and just in general, that's the top of the previous consolidation. So I would say short term, it's still most likely we'll drop down into that, but that could either be accelerated or reversed by the US session and by the United States traders. And due to what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, and also what we see from the Coinbase Bitcoin premium, I would argue it's most likely that rather than being accelerated, that it gets reversed, right? So that we might see a spike like this, spike like that, and then some sort of recovery, maybe to prevent some sort of a CME gap as well. So that's going to be interesting. But that's Bitcoin. Now, XRP, I know a lot of you are interested in that. At this point of time, XRP is very much doing nothing. It's just stable around 2.19, 2.22, and it's also it's a bit stronger than Bitcoin. So that's good to see. But there's not much momentum to expect anything from this. And then there's a couple of altcoins that I think are interesting. This morning I did a video on the altcoin markets in general for next week. So if you're interested in that, go to the channel, check out this latest video here. Also created some other updates, as you can see. But some altcoins specifically here, I still like EOS a lot. As you can see, higher time frame, we had a big bullish breakout, and we're still holding that, and the volume is also holding up relatively well. So that's definitely a coin I'd keep my eyes on. And then outside of that, there's not much. Ergo, Sto have quite a lot of volume, but outside of that, a lot of coins have very low volume. There's one more, but well, there's two more. You have Init. So Initia, volume is quite decent, but this is a very weird chart. We're near support level, so if we see some sort of strength come in here, that could be a buy. But like I said, it's a pretty difficult coin to trade. And then also BR, right? So this is on Binance. I think it's mostly traded. That's at resistance here with quite a lot of volume. So we have a chance to break out. Main level would be 6.4 cents. Keep your eyes on it. It's going to be very volatile, as you can see historically as well. But if you really want to trade, those would be the coins I'd keep my eyes on. All right, and that's what I think you need to know for now. All right, if you do have any more questions, of course, let me know down in the comments, or better yet, join the Telegram, join the Discord, and ask me in there. Just tag me and ask me. But for now, have a great Saturday, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all in my next videos tomorrow. Take care and bye.